Hi, welcome to this short presentation on value and benefits for those preparing for the PMP exam. In 2026, the exam was changed to have a greater focus on the role of business value for project management. So I want to delve into this topic and help you get more questions correct on the exam. I'm Mark Ludwigson. I'm a trainer for PMP boot camps with PDU credits. I have over 20 years engineering project management experience and understand the importance of projects resulting in outcomes that align with the value of the organization. So let's get into this important topic here. Just an overview on value. Value creation is seen as the primary reason for projects. Projects are meant to produce something, to result in an outcome that is of value. So we have to keep that in mind as project managers. Value includes organizational success, positive society impacts, and meeting sustainability goals. Organizational strategy and mission statements often define what these values are, and then the projects are to align to that organizational strategy. Each project results in a unique combination of benefits that together these projects contribute to the value of the organization and help achieve the goals of the organization. So some common value types: financial, obviously, trying to make a profit, save money, and so forth. Strategic value can be market position, competitive advantage, growth within a certain sector. Operational value is increasing efficiency, productivity, capability. Social value includes customer satisfaction, reputation, branding. So these are the common types of values that you'll see often in business goals and mission statements. So at the high level, we have these business values that are defined. In this case, increased efficiency is a value or goal that's at the organization or portfolio level. And then particular projects are made to produce the outcomes or benefits that result in increased efficiency. So in this case, increasing the daily output for production, and then also reducing waste are something at the program or project level that will end up resulting in the increased efficiency value. And then within each project, you have a number of requirements. This is just a few examples here, but there can be dozens or over 100 requirements that are detailed out within that project, that if you meet those requirements, then you'll get the benefit that produces the business value. So looking at these benefits, they're somewhat similar to the values. They're a little more specific. They often have very specific, quantifiable goals, and if it is sort of quantifiable or physical, it's known as a tangible benefit. So increasing monetary assets would be example, productivity, efficiency, profitability, stakeholder equity, or market share, infrastructure, physical infrastructure improvements are something I've had a lot of experience with. Those are tangible benefits resulting from a project. Intangible benefits include the general goodwill that the organization provides, brand recognition, public benefits, gaining new knowledge, general compliance with regulations, improving reputation, and so forth. When we look at a organization, there's elements within the organization that keep it aligned with producing value and meeting the business goals. So at the top is like the mission statement, the vision of the company. Then there's more specific organizational strategy. It might be for each division or department has specific strategy that aligns with that vision. And then there's portfolios of projects that, again, align with the business value, specific strategic planning that's ongoing, and there may be a project management office as well that helps keep things aligned with business value. And then we kind of split off where there's operations and projects, ongoing things on the left, and then circled on the right are the programs and projects that often will improve the operations or allow production of new products and so forth. So together they produce value for the company. Just to look at portfolios, programs and projects, just a reminder, portfolios are a higher level group of programs and projects that have strategic value alignment and are continuously creating value. Programs are groups of related projects that deliver bulk benefits, whereas each project will develop specific benefits. Looking at this vertically for information flow, strategy comes from senior leadership. There's specific goals that are set, initiatives that are set, and that influences the whole portfolio. And at the portfolio level, the decisions are made for which programs and projects to prioritize and advance. And then from the programs and projects, there's specific deliverables, specific outcomes that improve operations. And then kind of going back up on the left here, operations may indicate, oh, there's issues that we need to improve our systems, there's aged equipment, there's a lack of efficiency, and so forth. That information goes back to the programs and projects and informs them to make those improvements through projects. And then the performance information of those projects and programs goes up to the portfolio level. So the portfolio has a comprehensive view of all the programs and projects, the status, and then that status, high-level status, goes back up to senior leadership to kind of check that we're on track, we're headed in the direction that we want to go, which again aligns with the strategy, initiatives, and goals of the company. So that's kind of the information flow downward and upward through an organization. Ultimately, these projects improve operations and you get real benefits and real value. That's the overall goal of this. And that ripples through the entire organization. So for a project to be successful in terms of producing value, you want to start with well-defined benefits and requirements that get you those benefits. document those and track those through the project. Stakeholders such as senior leadership will inform you of the priorities of those benefits, and those may change over the life of the project. So keeping engaged with the stakeholders, especially for like governance meetings, to make sure the project is aligned with the value that we want to produce. Proactive risk management. There's always risks that the project won't end up exactly how we planned and wanted. And so being proactive to make sure that we actually end up with something beneficial in the end. Again, monitor the progress towards the benefits, and making sure we're actually going to produce something that's beneficial. And then changes often will happen. Business values will change, strategy, goals will change, and we may have to adjust the project through a disciplined change management process with how does this change impact the benefits. And quality is just important throughout, and again, make sure that we end up producing something beneficial in the end, and not something poor quality that has more problems than benefits. So for a project manager, focus on delivering that value, stakeholder check-ins regularly, having those conversations about the benefits, monitoring the requirements throughout the project, and again, focusing on quality and the positive outcome. And then from a bigger picture perspective, learning through the project and then with each project to make continuous improvements really helps like the long-term organization value. Organization value is more of a long-term thing, not for a specific project, but something the organization is trying to achieve. So if you've got several projects going on over time, learn from those, become a better project manager, and you'll start producing more value for the organization. So strategies to engage stakeholders early on, gain alignment on the benefits and deliverables and requirements that will produce those benefits. Keep a monitor on those and discuss those with the stakeholders, and then listen. If it is senior leadership and they say, well, we're moving in a different direction, listen to that and think through, okay, does the project need adjustment now that we're moving in a different direction as a business? Keep the stakeholders satisfied, remain positive, and portray what positive advances have been made, but also be transparent if there are setbacks in schedule, budget, etc. Make sure that that information is being presented. Be active with the stakeholders, not just sending regular emails, but having conversations, dialogues tailored to each stakeholder, and having those governance meetings where decisions can be made, changes can be made. Tailor the communication to each stakeholder. All right, the requirements traceability matrix is a way to link specific project requirements to the deliverables, which end up producing the benefits. So this example on the right here would be filled in with the list of requirements and show how they're linked to each deliverable, and that can be referred to through the project to make sure we don't forget about some requirements. So you'd be tracking this regularly through the project, And if you need to make a change through the change management process, the key though is to get into detail and try not to miss anything, and then to make it a living document if something later needs to be added or changed, so that it's a useful document. And obviously make sure it's quality reviewed, and maybe the stakeholders should review or sign off on it as well. Another document is the benefits management plan, also called benefits realization plan. You may see it called either way on the exam. It's one of the main pieces of a project management plan. This document defines how the agreed benefits will be delivered, measured, and sustained. Basically, it's focusing on the end of the project when you're putting things into effect. That we have a way of saying, all right, this is actually working as originally planned, and we're actually getting something beneficial out of it. So we're confirming the outcomes with this document. If we were to go back to the requirements matrix, this is the original intent of the design, where we start out the project saying we're going to meet these design requirements. So it's more of a front-facing document. This benefits management plan is focused more at the end. When we get to the end of the project, here's how we're going to measure things like during commissioning or startup. We're going to double check that we're at these levels. So that's why each column is a separate benefit, again, a higher level than a requirement. All right, so as you go through the project, it's helpful to have an adaptive mindset. This is something on the exam that is also of more importance starting in 2026. Having more flexibility, sort of agile or hybrid type approaches rather than just a rigid waterfall type approach is generally preferred. Incremental deliveries are seen as normal now, rather than just at the end, get everything at once at the end. Incremental deliveries are that certain goals or outcomes will be provided midway through the project, and you can start to see the benefits of those, whether it's a trial release that gets input towards the final release, or whether it's just, for example, if you're doing some production improvements, you may have a bottling system and a packaging system and a control system. If you can get one of those done early and put it into effect, put the control system in and have it starting up, giving more alarms, giving more communications, the organization can start to see value from that rather than waiting all the way to the end and getting them all at once. So one of the terms for that is to release minimum viable products, or MVPs. So you might see that term on the exam. That's generally seen as beneficial. The organization can start to see benefits from that portion of the project, seeing that enacted rather than waiting to the end for everything. Team empowerment is seen as beneficial over command control, hierarchy. So empowering the team is giving them the tools and the vision, and having things organized for the team so they can produce the deliverables that result in value. Continuous feedback and adjustments. So usually that's from stakeholders, that they see something that could change or should change, should be open to that, and respond to changes over just following the original plan. Well, that wasn't the original plan, and well forward. Feedback that results in changes usually ends up either protecting the original benefits and value or even producing greater benefits and value. So change should be seen positively. Sustainability and social responsibility also has more importance with this new exam. So environmental impact consideration would be one area, social responsibility in executing the project, also ethical decision making, and then stakeholder well-being, and then the long-term value creation, which is not only for a project, but as a project manager juggling many projects or having several over a period of time, you're creating value, long-term value for the organization. So a couple example questions from the exam. Number one here, a multinational organization is executing a multi-phase digital transformation project. The steering committee demands that the project team demonstrate realized business benefits much earlier than the scheduled 3-year completion date. How should the project manager restructure the delivery approach to satisfy this demand? So the key here in this question is that the steering committee, which is a governance group with the authority to make changes, they're indicating that they want to see realized business benefits earlier than the original plan was. So let's look at the potential answers here. Number A, fast track the schedule by overlapping phases. So that would probably result in less overall completion date. Instead of 3 years, it might be 2.5 years or whatever. But that's probably not going to be much earlier. So we'll keep that one in mind, but let's go to the next question. Answer B. Use an incremental delivery approach to release minimum viable products. So that's one where you can release a part of the project that will start to create value early. And that would probably better meet the demands of the committee. They want to see something released early that creates benefits for the company. So I think B is a better answer than A. Number C, crash the project schedule by adding more resources. That is usually more expensive, but it would again result in overall completion faster, 2.5 years instead of 3, but isn't giving a much earlier business value compared to answer B. So I would say answer B is still better here. Now number D, add more phase gates with progress presentations. That would get input more frequently, and the committee could see where we're at, the status, but they wouldn't actually be getting benefits to the business. It would just be status meetings, really number B is what will really bring benefits earlier to the organization. You can have very early in the first year of the project probably releasing something and producing benefits. So answer B is the best answer. A and C are not horrible answers, but with the exam, you got to pick the best answer. The best one B. All right, question 2. Near the completion of a complex system integration project, the key stakeholder claims that the final product does not deliver strategic value that was promised during the initiation phase. Project manager wants to verify that the deliverables match the intended business goals. Which document should the project manager review? A, the project charter. So that's a document that would have been done early in the initiation phase. And it's kind of a higher level document, so it probably wouldn't have gone into details that the stakeholders seem to be talking about very specific details. So it's a potential answer, but let's keep going. B, the scope management plan. So that talks about how the scope of the project is defined and managed, but may not get into the details that the stakeholder is asking about, and it may not list all the deliverables. Requirements traceability matrix. So that does list all of the original requirements in detail, much more detail than A or B, although sometimes the requirements matrix is part of the scope management plan. Still, that's specifically gonna list requirements and deliverables and be able to compare. Here's what we agreed we're going to do, and here's what we're actually doing. So that's the best answer so far. The benefits realization plan talks about how we measure the benefits in the end, but often doesn't get into details of the requirements and deliverables. So the best answer is C, the requirements traceability matrix. This is kind of a tricky one because really any of those documents would be helpful to review, but you got to pick the best answer. Question 3, you are managing project for a new packaging system to increase the rate of production. A stakeholder expresses that a high priority is to reduce rework due to poor quality pallet wrapping. Which document can help ensure this priority is confirmed during commissioning? So the benefits management plan does go into details on during commissioning how you measure the outputs to confirm it's providing benefits. So this poor quality pallet wrapping would be something that could be measured during startup or commissioning, and have that goal put into the benefits management plan. So number A looks like a great answer. The other ones are all related to the initial scope, the scope management plan, requirements traceability matrix, and the work breakdown structure. They do define the original requirements, but don't focus as much on commissioning and the output requirements and how to measure them. So number A is the best answer in this case. So with that, I'll take any questions to this video. Feel free to reach out to me with any comments or questions on this video, and hope to see you in the boot camp. Thank you.